Hello,
Hello.
hello,
I've got
hello,
some.
everybody. Is everyone
Oh,
enjoying the lully weather?
well, not today. It's not lovely. It's
Not
been
today.
it's been false spring the last week, hasn't it? In the UK, we have uh, we get lulled into a false sense of security when it comes to spring and summer normally, and it's hot for a couple of days, and we're like, oh yeah, let's get the throw the jumpers in a bin. Let's get our short sleeve t-shirts out and our shorts out, and let's enjoy the sun. And then the following day, it's fucking freezing. So cold and misty and horrible out.
So true. It's like one
But
day it's summer, next day it's winter.
yeah, that day though, when it was nice, cool when that nice.
Oh, it's a lovely
I
few
kept
hours.
I kept saying to Josie, oh, this is glorious. Such glorious sunshine. This
Oh,
heat is glorious.
it's so glorious. I
Yeah,
remember
honestly.
Lewis walking out the front door when he was like 4, and he walked out and he went, "Oh, what a beautiful day. Isn't it a
Yeah.
lovely day?" And we were like, "You're such an old man."
He's such an old man, bless him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was such a lovely day. Um,
Such a lovely day.
you have got something for me today that by that I mean an episode.
Oh.
Um, you gave me a small hint. I said, "Can I have a hint, please?" Because you said everybody knows it. It's a really well known one, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, give us a hint." And you gave me a hint, and I was like, "Hmm."
Hmm.
Had a little think, and I thought, "Oh, maybe it's this." And then you was even more cryptic coming back with your clue, and then you never responded. So I've no idea.
I know,
Just
because
stopped replying.
I honestly, I didn't know what clue to give you without giving
Yeah.
it away, and I didn't want to give it away, but
All right.
yeah,
Fair enough. I really hate having to wait and find out what the episode is. That's why I was asking for a
sorry
clue.
about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, it is a very, very well known one.
Right. Well, shall we,
But
without further ado, random blams go?
I got a listener random blam today.
Have you?
I have.
Bring it to us.
It is about the Warsaw, as in the place, Warsaw in Poland. They use mussels equipped with sensors to monitor the water quality. And they automatically, these mussels, like they've actually got proper jobs and everything, and they shut off the city's water supply if contamination is detected. So what
What?
they do is, I know, it's brilliant.
What,
So
inside the mussel shell or on the outside of the shell?
oh, I'll tell you.
All
So
right.
what they do is, I can send you a picture. We can put it on social media because it's so cool. What they do is they get the little mussel. They're like clams really. They're in the pictures. They're clams.
Oh, okay,
They
right.
don't look like mussels,
Not
but
the English mussel.
not a UK mussel.
Tiddly little thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so they look like little clams. So you got the little clam shell and then they put like this little blob of glue on top of the shell. And then in the glue, it's got a little spring and then a sensor on the end. And then the other part of the sensor is underneath this sensor. So essentially, what it does is the clam will stay open if the water is nice and it'll enjoy the water and, drink some, spit it out, do what clams do. But if it detects contamination, the mussel or the clam will shut. And as it shuts, the two sensors touch.
Wow.
I know. And
Oh
then,
my
so,
goodness.
and these mussels work for 3 months before being returned to the wild. So they work for 3 months of their life and then
Oh,
then they retire. And it
what a cushy
takes,
job.
I know, and it takes, there's 8 mussels altogether that do this. If four out of the 8 close and the sensors touch, then the whole water system and the water supply to the city shuts off. So it's all down to these 8 little clams or 8 little mussels that keep the whole
My
city's
goodness.
water supply safe. So 4 of them go down, they go beep 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 beep, And then it just automatically shuts off. How clever is
Wow.
that?
That's so
Clever little
clever.
clams.
So, so clever.
Yeah,
Um, I'm picturing in my head a scene from Alice in Wonderland.
it is a little bit like that.
Yeah, you know when
Yeah.
they're like they got that seal or walrus that's under there and he's like eating all the
Yeah.
clams.
That actually, that bit of Alice in Wonderland, that actually really upsets me. I don't know. I think it's because he eats them all, doesn't he?
He
And
does
they're
eat them
they're
all,
like
yeah.
they're the little babies in the
They are.
thing, and then he goes in and eats them, and that disturbed me as a child and
Yeah.
as an adult as well. Yeah,
Yeah, right. Well, Mark, that's a really cool random blam. That's a
yes.
really cool listener random blam. I'm
That
pleased with that one.
that was from Tess in France.
Oh, well done, Tess. I love
Thanks,
that.
Tess.
I
Thank
really,
you.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good.
My random blam is something I've just randomly come across, and I thought that's pretty cool.
Random
Um,
blammed across.
I did random blammed across. Have you just sent me a message?
Yeah, the picture of the clam.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm gonna have a quick look at it because it's just popped up on my phone. Wow, I
Hello.
see it. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll put
make
it.
sure you go on our Facebook. Sarah will whack that on our socials. Make sure
Yeah,
you go on there and give it a little like
yeah.
because
I'm gonna talk about
it
our socials
helps.
in a minute, but I'm
Oh,
gonna do
okay.
my random blam first.
All right. Blam us
Um,
up.
right. So, did you know
No.
the largest piece of fossilized dinosaur poo is over 30 centimeters long?
Do you know
That's the
what?
size of a loaf of bread.
I said no, but I've got a feeling that we've done that.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. I've got a
Well,
feeling that we've had that before, and I think I did it.
did you?
Yeah. It might have been you. I don't know. I get us confused.
Oh, well, here it is again.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, here it is again. And yeah, so to in context, 30 centimeters is a loaf of bread or a 30 centimeter ruler or something else that's 30
That's
centimeters. What
it's
else was there?
probably
A
about the
shoebox.
yeah, it's probably like the length of my laptop.
Yeah, that's
That's a
not.
big old poop.
It is a big old poo, but you think them dinosaurs are massive, isn't they? You'd expect it to
Yeah,
be
that's
like
true actually.
bigger.
You'd expect it to be like the size of my car.
Yeah, you'd expect it to be much, much bigger than that.
But then I suppose if they're fossilized, it's not like that
A
doesn't mean
complete,
that
but
that's
that
the biggest poo, but
no,
fossilized it's going to shrink, isn't it?
yeah, but also they reckon that came from a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I reckon that must have just been a little plotlet and not a
I
proper
reckon
poo.
I reckon that was a winnet. I reckon
Yeah,
that was stuck on his bum and he was like shaking it
yeah,
around trying to get it off.
yeah. What are they called? They're called something, aren't they? When you get a
Yeah,
bit of poo starting at the fur, that's called. Is
winnet.
it like? No, no, no. It's called something. Hold on.
We've
Poo
always called
stuck.
it a winnet.
Honestly, my search history because of this podcast. Poo
What's
stuck. It's called a dingleberry. That's what it's called.
oh dingleberry?
That's a dinosaur dingleberry. That's what that was.
T-Rex dingleberry.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
30 centimeter long
dingleberry.
dingleberry. Jeez.
Oh, that's fun.
Dinosaur dingleberries and mussels that shut down whole cities' water systems.
Yeah, you
you're not
heard
gonna
it.
get this anywhere else.
No, no other podcast can tell you this information.
No.
You come here for the facts.
Yeah,
That's what
this
you
is
get.
class. Professionalism and facts.
Facts. All right, then,
All right.
random blams. Done.
Done. I'm glad you said done and didn't go with that finished or whatever it
Finished.
was.
Over. Yeah.
Over. Yeah.
I tried something, it didn't work. I
Tried
understand.
something. We're all
No.
about it. We're all about trying new things. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We've got some shout outs.
Shout out.
Should we have some new music for shout outs? Because that'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Should we get some shout out music?
I don't think so, actually, because then the
Oh,
intro is going to be half an hour long, isn't it?
yeah. And you hate that.
I really hate that. I don't know. I'm sorry to everybody. I really don't enjoy it.
Do you know
But
what,
I love
though?
that they love it. I love that.
They love it,
Yeah.
and they're our mates. And so many people lately, haven't we? We've
So many.
found so many people lately have said, I really enjoy the podcast because it feels like I'm chatting to my mates,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we want. because
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're
absolutely.
doing. You are our mates,
Yeah,
and
and we don't know you, we don't see you, and we feel like we know our listeners as well. So if you are an avid listener and you don't follow us on Facebook or Instagram, please do, because then you can interact with us even more
yeah,
so, because we are one big blamly.
we are one big blamly.
Blamly. But we do have 2 new subscribers, so let's give them a big shout out. So Tracy, welcome.
Tracy,
Welcome
welcome,
to the
welcome,
Blamely. Yep.
welcome,
And
Tracy.
Arletta.
Arletta, that's a beautiful name.
Arletta. I
Oh,
know. And I tell you what, Arletta left us some feedback regarding our episode and the basement Gary Heidnick one.
hmm.
And I'm gonna read it out if that's okay, Arletta. If it's not, it's too late because I've already done it.
Oops.
And the feedback was so eloquent and so well written that I just really, really enjoyed it. And I wanted everybody else to hear it. So here it is.
All right.
And it says, that show was incredibly thought provoking. It really made me ponder the age old question, what would we do to survive? We can
Hmm.
speculate and imagine, but the truth is, we can't really know how we'd react until we're faced with a desperate situation, and hopefully we'll never find out. But what really resonated with me was Josephina's story. Her determination to survive against all odds was inspiring, and I found myself completely invested in her journey. She did whatever it took to make it through, and her resilience was a testament to the human spirit. While we can't know for certain how we'd act in her shoes, I believe Josephina's actions were a natural response to the extreme circumstances she faced. Her story serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities of human nature and the difficult choices we might have to make in order to survive. And that's exactly
That's
why I
cool.
chose that episode, because it really does, you know, Arletta said she did what she had to do to survive. But
Yeah.
some of the other women didn't do what she did. So it's different in everybody. That will to survive is stronger in some, and that will to do what you have to do is stronger in some people. And it's,
Yeah. And
why is that?
you don't know. You don't
No.
know. You can sit there all day long and say, I wouldn't do that. I would have done this. I would have said this. I would have kicked him in the nuts and
Yeah.
and you can say all that, but until you're actually, unfortunately, in that position,
Yeah.
you don't know, do you?
But like the zombie apocalypse, you're ready for it. You're
I'm ready.
absolutely ready for the zombie apocalypse. Josie's like, just take me. I'm not spending my life running from zombies, worried that they just get me. And it's just such a funny juxtaposition as to,
Yeah.
the different types of people that there are. And I find that so fascinating. And that's why we do this podcast, because we are perplexed.
We are perplexed. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah. No, mine's just any excuse to be able to cut someone's head off.
Zombie or not.
Yeah. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right then, should we crack
That's
on then?
wicked. Oh, I was going to say, do we know where our new Blamley members are from?
Oh, I don't think I know where Tracy is from, but I'm sure our letter has mentioned it before.
Where are
So
you
let me
from,
see.
Tracy?
That post that I put on Facebook the other day was absolutely hilarious, and I really enjoyed that,
Yeah, it was
because I
good.
asked people where are they from, and Josie replied, "Your house," because obviously we live together, and you was like, "My house," and people were like, "Next door." Like, yeah,
In
it
my
just
car.
snowballed, and it was really funny.
We love that.
We did love that. So let me see if our letter told us where she is from. Perth, Australia.
Wow. So
Yeah.
far away, Tracy.
No, that was our letter.
Oh, our letter.
Yeah, I don't
So
think we know
far
where
away, our
Tracy's
letter.
from.
Where are you from, Tracy?
Let us know, anyways.
Yeah.
We love
Send
that.
us a text or email.
Yeah.
Text is easy, isn't it? But
Yeah.
make sure you put who it's from because we can't actually see who it's from. It just gives us a number.
Yeah. And we
Yeah,
can't reply either. So,
we can't reply, but we can reply on the pod.
yes. Right.
Yes. All
Come
right.
at me with your episode.
All right. Let's do the episode then. Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning, morning.
Morning.
Misty, cold morning.
Yes. So I'm desperate to find out what this episode is because after last week when I asked you what it was and you gave me a cryptic message and I couldn't figure it out. And then we had an issue with our Zoom logging in and I even logged in and I still didn't clock the title of it. So I still got no idea what the
I
episode is.
I didn't put the title on it.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it then.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I'd keep you guessing just a little bit longer.
All right.
Um,
Enough's enough.
Enough's enough. You need to know.
I've waited a long time. I can't wait anymore.
Can't do it anymore. What's what was your guess?
I thought it was Aileen Wuornos. Warner?
It
Wuornos?
is.
Yes!
This episode comes with a trigger warning. So it contains discussion of rape and physical abuse. If this is not something that you want to hear, please skip this episode. So Aileen Wuornos is America's first known serial killer.
Female serial killer.
Female serial killer. I also want to mention that in researching this, it was quite difficult. I kept changing bits and going backwards and forwards and that because Aileen changes her story a few times. So it made it a little bit difficult because, I got the story and then I watched quite a lot of interviews with her where I watched the court case where she's giving evidence in court, things like that. And it was just really difficult because, yeah, basically she just changes the story. One minute she's saying this, and I was like, oh my God, that's horrendous. And I was writing down all the details of it. And then later she kind of goes back on that and says, no, that wasn't true. That was a lie. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a little bit difficult, but I'm going to tell you her story, and then at the end, I'll tell you the bits where she kind of changes it. And you can, we'll have a discussion at the end anyway.
Cool.
So, Aileen's early life. So, she was born Aileen Carol Pittman, and she was born February 29th on the leap year in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. Her mother was Diane Wuornos, and she was only 14 years old at the time of Aileen's birth.
Good Lord.
I know. Her father, Leo Dale Pittman, was a convicted paedophile, and he was constantly in and out of prison. And he died by suicide in 1969. Aileen and her older brother Keith were abandoned by their mother when they were just babies and taken in by Diane's parents, Laurie and Britta Wuornos.
So Aileen had an older brother?
She did, Keith.
Meaning that the 14-year-old mother would have been younger than that to give birth to the... Jesus Christ.
I know. It actually is sadly she had such a sad life.
Yeah.
And I know her case is very controversial. There's a lot of people who, sympathize with her, and there's a lot of people who are very angry at her because obviously she did kill 7 men. However, so Aileen and her brother Keith were taken in by their grandparents, Laurie and Britta Wuornos, and she was legally adopted by them. She apparently grew up believing that they were her biological parents, and it is alleged that her grandfather was actually her biological father. So,
Lord,
it honestly, there's a lot of this that was going up and down, and I was like, wait, what? By the time Aileen was a toddler, she'd already been dealing with like intense instability and trauma. Her grandfather was extremely physically and verbally abusive and would beat Aileen in front of her friends. He didn't give a shit. He would just like beat her to a pulp, whether there was like her friends there or
Onlookers
not.
or not, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't care. He would often rape Aileen as well. And he raped her mother as well. So not only did he rape his own daughter, but he also then continued it on and raped his granddaughter as well.
But actually, if he was her father, then that's his daughter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. So, oh God.
There's a whole lot of
Just,
paedophile incest going on.
yeah, exactly. It's just hideous. Um, I saw interviews with a lot of Aileen's friends as well, and they said that they would see Aileen having sex with her brother as well. So it seemed to be pretty much like all of them, it's
Mm.
at the age of 13, Aileen got pregnant with a baby boy. And as soon as she had the baby boy, he was put up for adoption. It's rumoured that the father of Eileen's baby was from a guy called Chief, who was apparently the local paedophile. Um, Chief,
Not apparently. If he's had sex with a 13-year-old, he is a paedophile.
well,
There's no apparently
we
about
don't
that.
know. We don't know. But Chief later died by suicide. So he was unable to comment on any of this. Aileen, as a young teenager, would try and make some money of her own. I think, to be honest, by the sounds of it, she just wanted to get away from everything. Her family, her brother, her dad, granddad, she just wanted out. So she would offer sexual favors for cash. And when I say sexual favors, this was pretty much like anything goes. She would have sex with local boys, men. She wasn't particularly fussy. She just wanted the money. She was known by other teenagers in the area as confrontational and prone to outbursts. She struggled academically and socially, more likely as a result of being so badly sexually abused by her grandfather, father, brother. Eventually, she had enough and she left home. There's rumours that she was kicked out of home, and there's also rumours that say she basically just had enough. But she left, she didn't have anywhere to go, so she lived sort of a homeless lifestyle. And she made a camp in the nearby woods. And she lived in this camp. Sometimes she lived with other people. It would be men. So, men would be staying with her for, a couple of days, couple of weeks. She continued to sell sex to local boys and local men. And as a teenager, she was arrested for disorderly conduct and other minor offences. And by this time, she was starting to develop a really deep mistrust of authority. And she got this sense that she had to fend for herself because no one else was going to do anything for her. No one else was going to help her. She would prostitute herself most nights to keep warm, to be honest, because it was freezing cold. In this part of America, during the winter, it was just unbearable. So this was kind of a way that she could keep warm. So she would prostitute herself out. She would suggest, or the guy would suggest, getting a hotel or a motel. They would do their thing. The guy would then leave, most likely go back home to his wife. And then Aileen would be able to stay there for the night, have a shower, have a sleep, that kind of thing. She began to grow increasingly more disconnected from mainstream society. Eventually, she decided to run away from Michigan altogether. And it was so unbearably cold, sleeping rough during the winter months. So she decided to head to warmer climates. She hitchhiked around the country for quite a long time, engaging in sex work for survival. In 1976, or I didn't realize this until I started diving into it, but in 1976, she actually married a man called Louis Fell. And Louis was about 75 years old
And
and
how old was she?
like 20, 24, I think. So in her early 20s anyway. Um, but yeah, I had no idea about this. Louis was a very well-off guy. He owned his own company. He was very successful. He had, a big house. He had a boat. And it's one of those moments that looking in on Eileen's life, if she had been able to just control her wildness a little bit, like the inappropriate side of it, she would go out to bars. She went out the day they got married. She went out to a bar. She got really drunk. She got in a fight. She got arrested, and Lewis was like, you're better than this, sort yourself out kind of thing. But he was a really sweet guy. But unfortunately, due to Eileen's volatile temper, it ended within weeks of them being married. And the the thing that actually topped this off was that she actually beat him within an inch of his life with his own walking stick.
Oh,
I know, horrendous. I mean, she had a really, however you view Aileen
mm,
Wuornos, she had a vile temper, really violent.
yep.
Um, but I guess if you had that kind of start to life, you probably would.
Well, this will be the discussion at the end, won't it?
Mm,
Because I'll have my opinions and I'm sure you will have yours.
okay. So Lewis survived this attack, but he was very, very badly beaten. And the next day, Lewis immediately filed for a divorce, and that was the end of that. She then got arrested in Colorado for driving under the influence, which is a DUI. And also, she had another charge of disorderly conduct. By this time, Aileen is known for getting into fights in bars and meaty confrontations with the patrons of such bars. She is really struggling with abandonment issues at this point, and she has no trust for anyone. She feels constantly threatened and constantly unloved by everyone, fueling her defensiveness and her combative behaviour. In the 80s, best decade, she finds herself in Florida. So she's nice and warm down in Florida. Here, she does much of the same. She prostitutes herself to pay her way of life. And in her late 20s, she is just, as far as relationships go, she's giving up on men. So she begins to frequent some gay bars down in Florida. In 1986, Aileen meets Tyria Moore. So sometimes she's referred to as Tyria and other times she's referred to as Tara. I will probably call her Tara because I struggle to say Tyria. But her name was actually Tyria Moore. And so they meet in a Daytona Beach gay bar. Tyra Moore was originally from Ohio. She was born in 1962, making her 6 years younger than Aileen. And by all accounts, she was fairly quiet and reserved. Tara was about 24 years old when she met Aileen, and Aileen was 30. Aileen was loud and rebellious and a woman who played by no one's rules. And Tara liked it. And she was instantly drawn to Aileen. She'd never met anyone like this before. And the pair hit it off and they became inseparable. They would hit the bars, they would drink the nights away, they would spend their days drinking beer, shooting guns in the woods. By the looks of things, if Aileen had had her way, she would have just like almost become a complete survivalist, like zombie apocalypse ready. She was into, just being in the woods, being away from people, certainly away from men. But Tara wasn't really like that. She liked going out. She liked going to the bars. She liked getting pissed up. And Aileen kind of thought, well, okay, that's cool. We'll just do that. They quickly move in together. And when I say move in together, I just mean they were just together. So wherever they were able to stay, they would stay there together. They would stay in motels if they had the money for it, or they would stay with people that they met along the way. They would go back with guys from the bar, crash at their house. They lived in a caravan at one point. They lived in people's sheds, motels, wherever, but they were together. Aileen was super tall and very aggressive, so she was able to easily protect Tara should she need protecting, and Tara liked that. She liked that about Aileen. Tara was quite chunky and stocky, so she probably could have protected herself, but she didn't really have that like inner aggressiveness, I guess. Some people just have an aura about them where you think, yeah, I wouldn't mess with them. And they don't need to necessarily be like big and burly, but Tara didn't really have that. She wasn't really used to that kind of life, so she was quite happy to let Aileen lead the way with that. As their partying continued, the little money they did have was soon gone. And although a lot of the time they would have drinks bought for them, they needed more. They needed more stuff. They needed more booze. They needed more motel rooms, food, everything else. So Aileen said, well, I can get money. I can offer my services out, and it's an easy way of getting money. Tyra wasn't really happy about it, but she did want to continue that lifestyle, so she kind of looked the other way. In the aftermath, Tyra was very sort of, no, I was against that. I didn't want that. I didn't like that. But I mean, it went on for long enough. So, I think she was actually more all right with it than she lets on. Aileen had been doing sexual favors for cash her whole life since she was a child. So she was like, look, I've been doing this a long time. Easy money. Aileen saw Tara as the closest thing to real love and companionship that she'd ever had. She felt like she would do anything to keep Tara to herself and to keep Tara safe. Tara tried to distance herself from the more volatile aspects of Aileen's life, but she did rely on the money that Aileen was bringing in. She felt safe and protected with Aileen, and she felt, quote, looked after. The emotional dependence was mutual. Aileen got this adoration and sense of dependence from Tara, and she'd never been able to give that to anyone. So she really embraced it. And Tara was being loved and adored and looked after by Aileen. As time went on, Aileen felt that she needed to provide for Tara more and more. They drank, ate, and motelled their way through all of the money that was earned. And as soon as, they got any kind of cash, it was gone. And Aileen actually says in a later interview, Tara, she really liked to drink. She really liked to drink, probably more than I did. So I felt, that I needed to be able to provide that for her. But this brought new levels of urgency for the money. This also brought a reign of terror down on Florida. And this was when the killings began. Now, Tara testified in court that one night Aileen came home and they were sitting on the floor of the motel, watching telly, drinking some beers. And Aileen said to Tara, "I need to tell you something. I shot and killed a man today." And it was around this time that apparently Tara kind of left. They kind of apparently drifted apart a little bit. And Aileen hooked up with a guy called Dick Mills. And I don't think that this was particularly strategic. It wasn't that Dick Mills had money or anything like that. I think it just created some kind of stability for Aileen and, a little bit of safety, I guess. But we do know for sure that Aileen killed these following men. So Richard Mallory, on the 30th of November 1989, Aileen claims that Mallory, a convicted rapist, tried to violently assault her. She shot him with a .22 caliber pistol and she leaves the body and takes his car. This set off public debate about whether the first killing was truly self-defense or whether it was because she wanted his car. David Spears, May 19th, 1990, is found naked on Florida State Road 19. He's been shot 6 times. And Aileen later stated that she was, quote, tired of being beaten up. Charles Edmund Carskadden, sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. And that was literally like a couple of weeks later, May 31st, 1990. His body is discovered in Pasco County, and he has been shot 9 times, indicating a rage and panic in Aileen. Like, you don't need to shoot someone 9 times. Peter Sims, June 1990. Sims' car was found crashed. His body was never recovered. Witnesses later identified both Aileen and Tyra near the abandoned vehicle. The uncertainty around Sims' fate obviously heightened media intrigue. Troy Barres, 31st of July 1990, a delivery driver from Florida, found shot twice. His body was found in a wooded area. And by this point, so this was number 5, by this point, obviously authorities begin connecting the murders together. So they're like, no, this is all the same person. Then we have Charles Richard Humphreys on September 11th, 1990, a former chief of police and retired US Air Force major, found fully clothed, shot multiple times in Marion County. And this high-profile victim just intensified police efforts. By this time, they were like, okay, we've got to do something. And then we've got victim number 7, which was Walter Antonio. And that was November 19th, 1990. Found partially nude. He'd been shot 4 times. And he was the last known victim before Aileen's arrest. The psychological factors here. Aileen experiences a mix of paranoia, desperation, and a real anger and hatred towards men, which, to be honest, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying she did the right thing. She absolutely didn't. But I do understand why she would hate men so much. When she's first arrested, she insists on self-defense in most cases, though evidence suggests robbery is a key motive.
How did they catch her?
I'll tell you about that in a sec. For the first couple of years after she was arrested, she kept saying that it was self-defense, and that they had either raped her or tried to rape her or were about to rape her. So, so I'm going to go from the last murder, Walter Antonio. At this point in the police investigation, police had traced personal items of the victims back to Aileen. Like, she would steal stuff from their person or jewelry, anything like that, and then she would take them, sell them, pawn them. Things started getting traced back to Aileen. They had witness testimonies who could place Aileen, and in some cases Tara as well, at the scene with the victim or with the victim's car. They had a picture drawn up from witness accounts saying, you know, we saw that car, we saw two women there, or we saw a blonde woman. So I said, right, tell us about it. And then they drew up a counterfeit. And then in January 1991, all the pieces just begin to come together. They still didn't, they knew it was Aileen, but they still didn't feel that they had quite enough to get a conviction. So they sent a biker looking guy who was actually a cop, and they sent him undercover. So we're going to go to January 9th, 1991. Aileen was drinking as usual at the Last Resort, which is a biker bar in Volusia County, Florida. And the undercover cop started chatting to Aileen. They had a good conversation. He was buying her drinks. They were chatting. He said that during the conversation, he began to be aware that she was actually chatting to him like she was looking at him like a next victim. So he kind of gave his subtle signal to the cops that were watching. And he suggested to Aileen that, you know, why don't we head out, you know, and see what's up. And she was like, yeah, okay, let's go. When they got to the bar door, the cops were there waiting right outside the door. They grabbed both of them because they couldn't blow the undercover cops' cover. So they grabbed them, they sort of threw them up against the side of the car, patted them down, and she's saying, what am I being arrested for? What's going on? And the police say, we've got to arrest you for some warrants. And she's like, what warrants? What warrants? So now they had Aileen in custody, and she was deny. And the cops knew that they still did not have enough evidence to convict her. You know, they were questioning her. They were saying, you went with this guy. We believe that you killed him. She was like, no. The police kind of, I don't know, whether you think it's a bit underhanded, I guess it's not. They go to Tara and they say, you're going to go down for this too. If you don't help get a confession out of Aileen, then you're going to be nicked for this as well. And Tara goes into a panic and she says, okay, fine, I'll help you. So I have got that call and I'm going to play it now, and you can hear the call.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, I had to call you early because I didn't know if you were going to leave today or what.
I don't. What the hell's going on, Lee? They've called. They've been up to my parents again. They've got my sister now asking her questions. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Huh. What are they asking your sister questions for?
I don't know. Lee, they're coming after me. I know they are.
No, they're not. They're innocent.
They've got to. Why are they asking so many questions then?
Honey, listen. Do what you gotta do, okay?
I'm going to have to because I'm like going to go to jail for something that you did. This isn't fair. My family is a nervous wreck up there. My mom has been calling me all the time. She doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Okay. Do what you gotta do, okay? Alrighty.
What?
I'm not gonna let you go to jail.
You evidently don't love me anymore. You don't trust me or anything. I mean, you're going to let me get in trouble for something that I didn't do?
I said I'm not. Listen, quit crying. Listen.
I can't help it. I'm scared shitless.
I know. I love you a lot.
I don't know whether I should keep on living or if I should...
No, Ty, listen.
What if they don't believe me?
Tyra, listen.
What?
I'm not going to let you go to jail or anything. Listen, if I have to confess, I will.
Okay. Yes. Why now did you do this? Why did you do this?
I don't know. Listen, Ty.
What?
I'll probably never be able to see you. You know that?
Yes.
I love you. If I have to confess everything just to keep you from getting in trouble, I will.
Okay.
So don't worry, okay?
Okay.
I love you.
No. Oh, do it now. Get it over with.
Right this very moment?
Yes. Get it over with.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
You can
right
call
this
me
very
back
moment.
later.
All right.
All right. Okay, bye.
So some will interpret Tyra's actions as a complete betrayal of Aileen. Others see it as a necessary step to end the killings. I would like to add that Tyra claims that she played no part in any of the murders, and Aileen would never have said anything different because she loved Tyra completely. However, Tyra was given immunity as the deal for getting Aileen's confession. And then she was in many conversations with filmmakers for huge sums of money. Apparently. I can't say that for definite because I weren't there. But there's a lot of people that there was a whole thing with the police as well. Like police were getting involved in like movie deals and things like that. And Aileen was saying that she believed that the police allowed her to go on killing. She said that they knew that she killed the first guy and they allowed her to go on and kill the other 6 because they wanted a big case to then put to the filmmakers.
That's not the case. So I know that Aileen throughout this blames everybody else. Yes, she done the killing, but because they was going to do this, because this was going to happen, that at no point does she go, I killed because I hate men. They take advantage of me. They did this. I wanted their car. At no point does she kind of
wow. Maybe she does.
All right.
So Aileen is charged with first-degree murder for Richard Mallory's death and receives additional charges for the other victims. Prosecutors emphasised the brutality and repetitive nature of the crimes. The defence attempts to argue self-defence and mental instability. The media portrays her as the damsel of death, or as commonly known as monster. Debate swirls around how much her history of abuse and trauma influenced her actions in these murders. Aileen is found guilty of first-degree murder on January 27th, 1992, and she receives the death penalty. Not at any point was Aileen offered life in prison, I would like to add. she is enraged by this. She has a complete meltdown when this
verdict
is read out, and she eventually pleads no contest or guilty to the other murders. She is housed in solitary confinement for nearly a decade. Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, she grows increasingly more and more paranoid, and you can see this through interviews that she does. It just seems to get like more and more outrageous. She claimed that the prison personnel were abusing her. Interviews reveal paranoia, delusions, and a complete unresolved rage towards pretty much the whole of society. She wavers between insisting on self-defense and claiming that she killed out of hatred. In an interview for TV that she did, she says that all the stuff she said about self-defense was a total lie. And she said that she made up the whole thing. She said, they said, well, if it wasn't self-defense, why did you kill them? And she said, I killed them for their money and for their cars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. They had what I needed at that exact point. When she was asked about certain victims, she said, no, that was purely because he had the exact amount of cash that I needed for my rent. And he also had a car, and I needed a car at that point. So that was it. However, many believe that the only reason that she said this was to make sure 100% certain that she would be killed in prison as soon as possible. It is thought that after being betrayed by the love of her life, Tara, and having a whole life of torment and misery, being shunned by the world her entire existence, that she just wanted out. And she knew that if she said, no, I killed because I'm a murderer and, you know, I wanted their money and I wanted their cars, she knew that they would go, all right, put her to death straight away. There's no point, no question. She went on to say, and this is a direct quote, this is not my words, this is hers. She said, "You'll need to kill Aileen Wuornos or she will kill again." End quote. When the Supreme Court put her execution on hold for an investigation, she threatened them by saying, "I am so mad I can't see straight. They're just daring me to kill again." End quote. Many psychologists and criminologists study her case as a rare instance of the female serial killer. Her story underscores ongoing discussions about trauma, mental health, and the cycle of violence. United States Supreme Court, this is what she goes on to say. United States Supreme Court, I'm telling you, man, you motherfuckers keep fucking with my execution, there's going to be bloodshed. And then they turn the TV cameras off. So she says, like, is that it? Are we off? And they say, yeah. And they're not. The cameras are still on, still recording her. And she says to the interviewer, and you can hear it as clear as day. She says, quote, "I would never be able to handle a life sentence. They're too cruel here. I could never handle it. So I had to go for death. I got to get out of here. They're too evil and corrupt. That's why I'm not saying anything about self-defense no more. They would never do right by me if I told the truth." So, and that end quote. So basically she's saying that it was self-defense. And
she's saying, kill me, I'm a monster, I'm a murderer, you need to kill me.
And she's saying, just kill me, because she said, she's honest. Well, what it sounds like anyway, she's honest. And she says, I would not be able to handle a life sentence in here. So I just want out.
Yeah.
The exact motivation for the killings remains a huge controversy. October 9th, 2002, Aileen Wuornos is executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison. Her final words reportedly included, "I'll be back." Just like my husband said.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening, I love you. So that's the end of the story. Aileen changes her story about a few different things, and I would like to get your insight on these things. So she changes her story about her family as well. Like, she goes into detail. This is like when she's in prison. And she says, no, all this rubbish about my family. They were straight. They were good people. They were strict, but they were good people. And, when I had the baby, when she gave birth to her son, it kind of screwed with her mum's head a little bit, and like her dad blamed Aileen for her mum's death, and it's all very mixed up. But she says, pretty much like my dad was a decent guy, blah blah blah. Then she says she doesn't say that her mum gave her up, whereas all other sources say that her mum gave her up when she was a baby and gave her to her grandparents. But then Aileen goes on to say that her mum died, and that was the only reason that she wasn't like raised by her mum, was because her mum died. I don't know. She said that she lived with her parents for many years, and then at another point she talks about her grandparents. Then she talks about her mum, but I don't know if she's talking about her grandmother as her mum or not. She displays massive hatred in her last interview, which was the day before her execution. Massive hatred for her mother and her brother. She's like, "You fucking tell them, to fuck off." And like, she's proper like angry about it. She says that it was self-defense, and then she says it wasn't, and they had what I needed. Then she goes back on that and says, no, it was self-defense, but I can't say that because I just want to die.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really go backwards and forwards because I feel so sad for her that she had that life. But
would you like to hear my views?
I would, yeah.
All right. I think that she absolutely had a horrific childhood. She really did. I think that the fact that I think she began trading sexual favors at like age 11 or something, didn't she? And she was pregnant at 14. I think that speaks of childhood sexual abuse, definitely. So I think that she absolutely was abused. However, so are other people, and they don't go on killing sprees. I think the trauma that she had, you go one of two ways. You either recognize the trauma that you've got and go, I don't want to be affected by my trauma, and you try and do something about it, or you live the life of trauma. And that's what she kept doing. She kept putting herself in a position that was her trauma. She was constantly raped by people in her life, so she carried on being constantly raped by people. And it's very difficult because I think she did have a lot of mental health issues, but again, a lot of people have mental health issues. So I think if she didn't want to be right, she's like, I'm sick of getting beaten, I'm sick of getting raped, and that's why I killed them. And yes, just because she was a sex worker doesn't mean that she should be beaten and raped. However, she's putting herself in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, but she hasn't got anything. She doesn't know anything else.
Yeah, but there comes a point in your life where you know what's right and wrong, and you know
Yeah, but it
Oh, I
doesn't
don't
always
want
stop you. Doesn't always stop you doing it, does it? You might just think, I don't feel like I've got any other choice. If she needed to earn money, that's all she knows.
I'm speaking from my point of view and my head, and I think if I was in that situation, that's not what I'd want to be doing. I think if I was
Yeah,
so
of
sick and
course.
tired of being beaten and raped, I wouldn't be putting myself in that situation. And I know it was the 80s, but there were still hostels and women's refuges and things like
Mm,
that could have helped her.
yeah.
And that help was available and she didn't seek it.
Mm.
So I do agree that she should have been whether put to death or not, but I do definitely agree that she should have been incarcerated. I think
Yeah.
that she was desperate to be put to death because she didn't like the idea of being confined. Not that
Yeah.
not that they were treating her badly or anything like that. I think that she didn't like the fact that she was trapped.
Yeah, well, she never had a home ever,
Yeah.
really, her whole life. I mean, I know she did have a home, but I mean, it was a
She
place
would
of
up and
torment.
leave this place and up and leave that place and,
Yeah.
sleep out in the woods in this place. So I think that she
Yeah, and then
just
she
couldn't handle.
hitchhiked, she was at motels, she was in sheds. I think you're right. I think the thought of being put in, I mean, and she was in solitary confinement for over a decade as
Yeah.
well. I
Yeah,
think
that's
by
shit.
that time she would have just been like, I need to get out of here and I don't care if it's because I'm going to be put to death.
Yeah.
I think
I
she could
think
have
in
had,
her head, she fully believed that it was self-defense because she fully believed these men were going to rape her because that's what men did to her. And she fully believed that she was doing it out of self-defense.
yeah, see,
But
I
I
don't
don't
think, I don't think she did. I think she did actually, I think she found a way that she was able to just get the money,
to benefit
get
from
the
what was.
car and that, and then think, well, actually, I don't actually have to do anything. I don't have to give them sex or anything like that. I can literally just go, yeah, let's go down this, because it was always down a country
Yeah.
lane. And do you know what I mean? So,
I think it was planned.
yeah,
She
I
absolutely did
do.
plan it, but she was like, well, he was going to rape me anyways. So
Yeah.
even though that probably wasn't going to happen,
Mm.
that's just how she viewed
Made it
men.
okay in her
Yeah.
brain. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if I hadn't have done that, he would have raped me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think so. I think it's a real shame that she didn't try and make things work with Lewis Fell, because
Yeah.
she could have had a really different life. She was in her early 20s
Yeah.
and he seemed to really genuinely love her, and it's such a shame that she didn't just, get some help for her rage. I mean, she just got rage like I've never known. It's
Yeah.
just, she just can't seem to have any kind of control over it. And it was the ruin of her and 7 men by the looks of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, sad. I think it's
I
really sad.
yeah, I
Mm.
know it's controversial.
Mm.
Um
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
mean, I would love to know what people's views are on Eileen.
Yeah.
I want to feel bad for her, and I do feel bad for her. But then there's also that other side where I also think, and I do believe that those 7 men were not rapists.
No, 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 I don't think
I,
so
re-
at
I
all.
I don't think that, and I think, Eileen, you killed 7 innocent men.
Yeah. But in her brain they weren't innocent because men
No men
took
were.
advantage of her and men beat her and men raped her. So that was her
Yeah,
view of it. So to her, absolutely, I think it was self-defense and she was like, kill or be killed.
yeah,
She constantly lived in a state of fight,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
which is a
definitely.
trauma response. But I think it's the same as like abusers kids that are abused. They
Mm.
sometimes grow up to abuse
Yeah,
and others don't. And that's got to be a mark of the person and not their upbringing.
Yeah.
Because it's the age-old thing, isn't it? Of what's it called? Nature versus nurture.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Are you born that way, or are you made
that way?
Made into it that
Yeah.
way? And I think you could potentially give two exactly the same people two very different upbringings, or or the same upbringing to different people, the same upbringing,
Yeah.
and the things would turn out very differently. So I think a lot of factors are based on individual choices.
Yeah. I've just got one last question for you. Do you think that Tara Moore was involved in any of the murders?
In the fact that she knew about them, yes. And I think that makes her culpable, because she knew that Aileen was killing people and could have prevented others from being killed. So I do think that she is culpable. I don't think she had a hand in the murders themselves, but she did in the fact that she knew that Aileen was murdering people and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I don't think that she actually pulled the trigger, or even that she was there for any of the murders.
Yeah.
But
it's a really sad story. It's a really, really sad story, and I feel, well, sad for all sides, really, because it would have been good if, she'd gone a different way. But yeah. All right, well, there you go.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But
Thanks for being a part of it.
Well, you're welcome. We do love to hear people's opinions on things. So definitely get in touch with your opinion, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, whether it's a private message, whether it's a text message or an email.
YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything. Which way, we'll find.
We'll find you.
We'll find it. And let us know what you think, because we love collating people's opinions and then using that to form our own basis. And
yeah, we want to learn, same as everyone. So yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. I'll see y'all next time.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye. If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
But the thing is, the garden is his domain, right? If Susie comes out in the garden, he fucking goes mental at her and she has to come back in. So he's just snuck upstairs and Susie's gone, fucking got you now, you bastard. And she's laid across the top of the steps so he can't get down.
You're in my territory now.
You wait. Serves you fucking right, you bully.